Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's Jimmy. Super pumped that you're here, whether you're listening via the podcast or watching on YouTube. Welcome. This is a show that we do every Monday morning. We put it out Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to help you get your week started off with some good energy and have some fun. I'm up here in the lake house. If you've been following me at any time, we're going to be talking about this on YouTube. We're actually going to do the remodel. We're going to put it on video, which will be fun. We'll be tearing all this down around me. But for now, we're rocking it. We got the Tula mic working, doing a pretty good job, shooting on the Sony over here, and just loving life. And today, it's the 4th of July. So depending on when you're watching this, you might not be watching it on the 4th. Hopefully you get this on Monday morning, Monday morning, because I'm doing it on Monday mornings. But in case you're not watching it on the 4th of July, it is the 4th of July. And 4th of July is a lot of fun for me. I'm excited about it because we have a local parade. I'm actually up here in my hometown of LaPorte, Indiana, which is a really small town. We have a parade, and before the parade, we run a 5K. There's a 5K, and I always join that 5K and get in that 5K. It's a lot of fun to run and just get out there and run the parade route and get to see everybody. It's actually a lot of fun. But today, I want to get into this idea of self and self-expression. It's something important. We're going to be working on that this week in my program, MorningCoach.com. But understanding self is a big part of my work. 16 years ago, I wrote a book called Get Out of Neutral. And I was actually going to call it Return to Power because the idea was really about helping you find out who you truly are. My next book a few years later that Hay House published was called Sacred Six. And that book really, again, built on that book of self and helped you really understand the clarity that you need in order to be able to manifest the things that you're looking to manifest. You see, a lot of people are struggling with life. The Buddha says all life is suffering. And there's some truth to that because it's always we're trying to figure out if we can make our life okay. And specifically, it's inside our heads because we have our outer world that's going on. There's a new book that we're studying in our book study at MorningCoach.com, Living Untethered by Michael Singer. And he says there's this idea of the outside world, there's the thoughts inside your mind, and then emotions, right? And you are this being that is listening to these emotions. You are this being that hears the thoughts or feels the emotions and also is bringing on this external world. And the idea or the concept is we're always just trying to be okay with the thoughts and the emotions. And typically life doesn't work out the way that we plan it. You know, I've built systems over the past 16, 17 years to try to help with that. But even myself, I struggle sometimes with the plan, right? It's like, hey, the plan's not working, you know, and so we need to make some changes along the way. In fact, for those of you that are listening and have never grabbed my planner, I actually have a free planner at MorningCoach.com you can grab. We do yearly topics. You can see that on Compass. And basically, as you know, this is my second Motivational Monday. 52 weeks of the year, I'm going to come here, do this podcast, and also put it on YouTube along with that curriculum. And this week, we're talking about self-expression. But before you can express yourself, you need to know who you are. So in my first book, Get Out of Neutral, one of the things we discussed was a ritual called the mirror ritual. And basically what the mirror ritual is that you go stand in front of the mirror and you look at yourself. And it's a very challenging exercise. A lot of people have trouble with it because they're looking back at themselves and they're looking right into their own eyes, right? And when you look in your eyes, you're going to realize that there's something deeper there, something more than you can even imagine, right? It's you. That is you. So it's like, think about when you're dreaming. It's a good example of this. And you're dreaming and you're telling somebody about your dream. You're like, oh, I had these wings and I was flying all over. Well, who is watching the dream? Just as who is watching the thoughts, right? So it's you, obviously, but you, the self, is even more than the thoughts. It's more than the dream. It's more than anything. It's you. Like, that's who you are. And so the mirror ritual is this idea that even if you look 10 years from now, you will change physically, but you're not your body, right? You're going to change and you're going to see you there. Just as the same 5-year-old or 12-year-old that had all those dreams is the same you that is there now. And so this idea, this deep reflection of understanding who you are is critical in the ability to manifest the things in your life. Because if you're in thought which I have been a lot of my life, and you're in ego, you're going to want to go after things, and the list gets longer and longer. And you've heard it. I mean, you're never satisfied. I mean, I'm up here in a lake house. I'm working on my pilot's license. I'm manifesting more than I ever have. I was telling this story to my coaching group that I moved up here to get this lake house for the summers. And when I moved up here, one of the things that was a big part of my life when I was younger is Dungeons and Dragons. I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I played with a couple guys that were about 5 years older than me, and a whole group. And my mom actually was very leery of that when I was in junior high and high school. Of, why am I playing with these older people playing Dungeons and Dragons? But it exposed me to different things. I didn't really like school; it wasn't something that I was really into. But it got me reading, and it got me being creative, and it allowed me to, kind of expand my mind. And really, that's why I'm here today. Yes, I went and did my bachelor's and my master's and my PhD, but really that expressionism of Dungeons and Dragons and playing and being creative was such a big part of my life. Well, when I moved out to the lake, one of the things I wanted to do was get in touch with those old friends of mine who are now getting close to 60. I'm 53, pretty crazy. But what was crazy is I'm manifesting all these wonderful things because I'm getting tied into self and getting out of my own ego and trying to make the list. I'm just allowing myself to live. The old group, one of the people in the old group lives almost across the street. It was amazing to find out that he's literally across the lake from me, but literally a 2-minute drive. I could walk there. And he's got a whole setup in his basement. Just crazy. And so I've just been on this manifestation path this year, and I equate a lot of success and a lot of things that are coming into my life because I'm manifesting and I'm being true to self. And a big part of my life this year was really meditating, getting away from thought, understanding the observer state, which I call it in my book, and really focusing on understanding what it is that I want. Not my thoughts, not my emotions, not the outside world, but what do I want? What are the things that are going to bring me peace and joy? How can I release stress in my life? How can I find that happiness in my life and the energy to do the things I need to do, like making these videos and these coach casts? Literally, I do every day. I've done 4,600 episodes of coaching, right? And I do it every single day. And now I'm writing a new book. And I'm sharing that process with our Freedom group that I teach. This is how you go from writing, the basics of the structure to getting the book published. And obviously I've self-published. I've also been published. And one of the things I got to debate is, do I want the big paycheck from the publisher, or do I want to self-publish and have total control? But that whole process I'm documenting. Why am I doing all that? Because I'm having fun. And I always say you write the books for yourself. And this next book that I'm writing, which is my 5th book, is really about the self and that expressionism of how to fall in love with that self and then really be able to manifest those things that you want to bring in your life, right? And that's really what it's about. But here's the big issue. And this is where we run into a lot of problems. As the Buddha says, all life is suffering. He's not being negative. It's just that most of the time the plans don't work out according to the way we want them to. So when you're able to surrender to that or able to step back from that, you can find you. Once you find you, and this is why this is so critical, then you could start to manifest or go after the things you want using goals and like our structure. We have mission, we have goals, we have projects. You could get the planner for free. You'll start to understand what we do. And then if you want to work more with us, we have Ignite program and Freedom program. But at the end of the day, what we've got to do is get clear about what it is. You're sending mixed messages. And if you don't want to get woo-woo and talk about all the self stuff, and we just want to talk about left brain intelligence, when you're sending mixed signals to the left brain, how are you going to accomplish what you want? At the end of the day, general problem solving basics 101 is to understand what the root of the problem is. If you don't know why the problem is occurring, you can't fix it. And that's what happens a lot of times in business. A lot of people try to fix the problem. They don't realize they're just creating more problems. And so in life, the self is the most dynamic aspect. And so my big word or my big value is freedom. I live a life that's very free. And it's why I want to get my pilot's license, because I'm going to buy an airplane and I'm going to fly and not have to worry about traveling and deal with TSA and all that stuff. And the reason it is, I want to be free. I've lived a free life my entire life, and I want to continue to live that. And that's what I teach. And I actually live what I teach. I'm up here in Indiana at the lake house right now, and now I'm manifesting this airplane. I actually live in Colombia also, and in Florida. Those are my areas, right? But the idea is to be able to go from place to place. Now that's coming from a little bit of ego, but more from self, right? Because I know myself by meditating, by relaxing, by allowing myself to get out of ego and the list. And I know that sounds material, but the truth is freedom is incredibly important to me. I like to express. I want to be creative. That's what I do. This is my art, right? And so by being able to do all that, the material comes into my life to support the self. Not from an egoic want that I think that's going to make me happy. I know I can release it. If I get my pilot's license and start flying, that's great. But I don't need that to be happy. The truth is that's the next evolution of me because I'm ready for that. I've let go of all the other things. With a caveat, I'm not going to say that I'm some enlightened being. Anybody that says that probably isn't. What I'm going to say is I've been working on this very hard to be able to find self and let go, and I still have a lot of work to do, as every human being does here. But I'm starting to manifest and do things differently and have wonderful things happen in my life as I detach from this connection to the egoic world and the material world and focus on what truly is serving me. And that's really what today's show is about. It's about this understanding that we can serve self, but we've got to understand what self is. So when we go back to the mirror ritual, right, and we talk about the mirror ritual, when you stand there, you're going to realize that that's not you. I mean, you are more than the body, right? You could chop your arm off and you're going to be the same self, right? Think about that for a minute. Your body is not you. You are more than that. And you've got to be able to go there. And nobody really teaches this. And that's part of the issue. You know, we're so conditioned by society. We're so conditioned by the media. We're so conditioned by our education to really think we're this egoic person. And we plug into this system. If you've ever heard me talk about the system before, I'm not judgmental of the system. It's an economic system. But if you look at it in the United States, for example, it's very simple. What's the whole system based on is you becoming a part of that system. So the educational system is what? You go to school, you graduate. Most people go get a degree. They go into debt. They go work until they're 65. They retire and then die pretty quickly and then give half the money back to the system. While they're working, they're paying taxes to support the system. It's neither good nor bad. It's just an economic system, right? So I contribute to that economic system, but I want to be free. I don't want to plug in totally into the system. It's kind of like the Matrix. You want the red pill or the blue pill. Well, in order to get out of the Matrix, you got to know who you are. You got to realize self. Just as Neo woke up and ended up in a different world, same thing happens when you start to understand who you truly are. You start to see a different world. And that's really the elevation of consciousness. And back when I started this and left aerospace all those years ago to write Get Out of Neutral, my whole premise was to help shift the consciousness of the planet. How can we all elevate our consciousness? Knowing that I fall into the hole of ego and that trap consistently. In fact, as I had tremendous success in 2009 up until 2015, I was very egoic. Even though I was kind of in the spiritual business, I was going down a different path. I got to teaching business more and more, and I kind of lost my own way, and I lost self, right? So a lot of work that I've had to do the last couple of years is really slowing down my mind and really working on finding out who I am, this really awesome divine spirit. And again, if you want to get intellectual on me and go left brain and go, man, I'm not into the woo-woo stuff, but realizing that you're not the thinker. And you're going to logically say that and go, yeah, I hear my thoughts. I see my dreams. I'm conscious of all that. Well, who is conscious? That's really the secret. And understanding who is that conscious being. Now, once we know that, we can start to peel the onion back to find out what is the life experience that we really want, and we can start to manifest that. That's a wonderful thing. It's not without challenges. As Buddha said, all life is suffering. But if we can peel that onion back, all of a sudden we release that suffering and we can start to manifest the things that we want. Or if you're left brain intellectual, put a plan together and execute on that plan. And everything that I've done in my life and all the teachings that I do, that's really what it's about. And that's what we're going to be doing here on Motivational Mondays on the podcast and here. Okay? So it's fun. I'm having fun with this. I hope you're having fun listening to some of these deep topics. And if it resonates with you, fantastic. If you're on YouTube, hit a thumbs up. It helps. And make sure you subscribe and realize every Monday at 6 a.m., I'll put this up and you can get some good energy to get your week started and to make you think a little differently. Because as we all know, Einstein says, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know the exact quote, but it's something like the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again and yielding the same results. That's Einstein, pretty smart dude. So let's focus on doing something different. And how do you do that? Well, come here on Mondays. Join us, subscribe, be a part of this, and we'll bring you this energy. And if you want to take the next step, we got other programs. But I'm doing this to really shift the consciousness of the planet as we build this wonderful channel on YouTube and this podcast and have some fun. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, yes, I do other videos. We do tech reviews and stuff. I'm doing YouTube totally wrong, but that's okay because I'm meeting cool people like you, and that's what it's all about. So get out there, have a great week this week. Happy 4th of July. And I'll be back with you next Monday. Remember, at 6 a.m., it always releases 6 a.m. Monday mornings, Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and on any of your podcast apps, whether it's Spotify, Google Play, or Apple iTunes. All right, go have a fantastic day. You watched to the end. Thank you so much for that. You're awesome. You can click subscribe for more awesome videos that we do, all kinds of different things. And then down here, you can watch the next video that comes up from our community and channel. By the way, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. What do you think about today's video? All right, thanks so much. Hit that subscribe or watch that next video.